I will tell you 3 things. If I tell them to you and they come true, then will you believe me?
It's a good indication of how volatile the market is that I keep doing these videos. Videos used to be something I do every couple of weeks or every month or so, and I think I've done 3 in the past 3 days. It's just easier for me to talk about a lot of things in a video than it is to just do individual charts. This isn't also a kind of market where it's inclined to show individual charts as discussion points because the broad movement is way too important. The individual charts sort of like aren't nearly as relevant. Looking at the past 5 days on a minute bar basis, we can see this entire section as the market trying to figure out what to do with itself. A lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty, ups following downs, downs following ups. And finally, right about here, when it finally broke out, did it finally stop messing around and move forward. So broadly speaking, I mean, we bottomed here on the 23rd, and we can see this series of higher lows and then substantially higher lows as we sort of took off in this kind of hockey stick style. And it's sort of comic here because from here to here, you might as well just lay a ruler down. I mean, it was just like trending up the entire way with nary an interruption. And right here, things just went whoop and fell right apart. It's interesting too because I've been talking about 1170, 1175, with 1190 being as the highest reach where I'd feel comfortable. And what was the high today? Exactly 1190. So the market gods really playing with my nerves here, but 1190 is the top so far. Let us look, as yesterday we did, at a few indexes. And let's start off with the NASDAQ Composite, CompQ. Now, if you recall yesterday, I showed a lot of gaps that needed to be closed, a lot of markets that had more room to go higher. Today's 300-point surge on the Dow, it didn't close that high, but intraday it was, really took care of a lot of those needs. Here's the NASDAQ Composite. I define this line here at 2644 as really the highest I'm comfortable with. I guess I could go a little above it and still be beneath this red line. That red line is really my very serious line in the sand. I'd feel a lot better if it would just kind of fall away from this level, because the past 2 days have really taken advantage of all the cheap prices that were out there, and I think the easy money has been made on those. So frankly, I think buying into a market like this makes as much sense as shorting did earlier this year. The broad trend is down, and you just kind of fight in the general tide, because I think this is a very susceptible to negative surprises. If we look at for example, some simple moving averages on this, we can see how things are getting away from the daily stuff. They are broadly turning down. If we hide the price, like so, and even hide the drawn objects, like so, you can see that this topping action is quite smooth and well-defined, even better than back in 2008. It's been a nice, gentle top, and the moving averages are basically all where they need to be. This is fastest, medium, and then slowest. All 3 of them are in the good bearish orientation. Let's bring our good friend prices back, though, because we don't want to hide them, and we'll get rid of the studies just to clean things up. One of the items that had way to go yesterday but took care of the gap today is the commodity index. Very nice gap fill right there on CRX. And the Dow Jones, as I said, I think it was as high as like 300 plus earlier today, and it lost a little over half that gain. If we change this, for example, to a 60-day hourly bar graph, you can see very clearly that we're still very much within this kind of sine wave pattern here. Where we're at right now, when you look up basing pattern in a book, this is not what you see. This is not a basing pattern at all. This little guy was a basing pattern, and we took off nicely from it. This isn't much of a topping pattern either, though. It just seems to be kind of at the high end of a range. So hard to say where it's going to go next. If this freaking news from Europe keeps coming back, like we are going to print $2 trillion, maybe it'll get even higher up in this range, but we're still within the confines of this range. We got up to about maybe 70% percentile within that range today. Looking at the SPX, kind of a similar picture. We'll back this back into a daily chart. I usually look at 10-year daily charts, so we'll make this a 5-year. And zooming in on this, we see, and we'll change this to a candlestick briefly here, we see a nice little, it's not the world's greatest shooting star pattern, but this is a pretty encouraging pattern if you were worried about prices just blasting higher. That close was not exactly an affirmation of good prices coming. And here, again, if we do get strength, I would look at this fan line as really kind of the upper limit. So if we got above 1220 on the S&P, I would get, I don't know if worried's the right word, a little disconcerted. I think that would seem strange given the kind of texture that I'm seeing here. Gold had another funny day. I saw that from yesterday morning until this morning, there was like a 25% lift on the futures market between silver and gold. Just, for those who are that agile, the kind of move that might have taken 2 years in the past took 24 hours. It was a real bargain yesterday morning, not so much of a bargain now. I think this is a real mess. It's kind of in the middle of its range. I'm not either bullish or bearish on precious metals. I'm just avoiding them altogether. They've gotten uninteresting. But for those nimble enough to have bought yesterday, like my friend Serge in Paris, well done. Some good timing there. Crude oil. We have a bit of a topping pattern here in crude oil, and I think it's if this did a great job leading equities down. If this moves downward back into the 70s, I think that you'll see the market go right along with it. The euro is, as has been such a very long time, the big focus. Drove things up past couple of days. Still very bearish configuration, I believe. Zooming in tighter here, would see it rather difficult to get above that high from September 20. This is a very large topping pattern here, but this is merits constant attention. I mentioned earlier that individual stocks don't really matter. Just to fly in the face of that point, I will show you 3 that I'm currently short. First one is Ann. Bit of a favorite of mine. We zoom in here. I've got a stop here at 25.56. And in spite of the tremendous strength today, this actually fell, which is really very encouraging, I think. IVN I shorted today. It was up like 26% earlier today. Just had it went from like 1250 to 1850 in the span of hours. And this is, I think, it's kind of tipped its hand as far as how weak it can get. I have a tiny position on this because this thing, anything that moved 25% in a day, without being bought out or something, makes me nervous. So, a bit of a flyer position here. And then finally, SOHU, nice head and shoulders pattern here. If it falls away from this neckline, and even better, if it breaks this trend line, I see really spectacular things in the future of this short. This could get absolutely just killed. I won't even say how killed, but awfully killed. So 3 days to go in this quarter. I've had a good quarter, but boy, I'll be glad when it's over. I will feel I feel very shackled right now. I feel shackled to my quarterly report. I feel I can't short as much as I would like to. I don't like that. So probably 60 seconds before the closing bell on Friday, I'm going to enter all the orders that I've been dying to enter. Until then, I remain in handcuffs, self-inflicted, and I'm counting the hours till this quarter is done. Free at last, right? Anyway, that's it for me. Adios, muchachos.
Where do you come from?
The question is, where have you gone?